How's it going, everyone? It's Outlaw Client here, back once again this week, and freshly hooked on Smash Ultimate. Now, me and my friends have been playing online quite a bit lately, and we've been discussing who we think are some of the best and worst characters this time around. In addition, we spoke about who were having the most trouble facing, and one name that kept appearing was none other than the Kremlin Menace himself. That's right, wireframe Little Mac. I mean, seriously, the speed, the power, devastation all around, Jesus! And wait, you mean you can just throw him off stage? Oh, alright, sorry, I mean the other Menace, none other than King K. Rool. Now, King K. Rool is a pretty solid character. I mean, he can bury you with his down throw, he has some of the best projectiles, he can bury you with his down tilt, he hits very hard, he can bury you when he sneezes on you, and to top things all off, he's practically the second heaviest character in the game, so he's gonna be living for quite a while. But despite all of this, he does have a number of drawbacks which you can exploit, so I decided to document these drawbacks in a top 5 list in order to take out King K. Rool. So without further ado, let's get right into the list. Now, my first tip for taking out King K. Rool is to exploit his startup and end lag by attacking his blind spots during this time. Now, King K. Rool's projectiles are some of the best in the game and definitely the best out of the super heavyweights. I'm sorry, King Dedede, your Gordos just aren't cutting it. But as I was saying, with his projectiles, they're quite useful because they'll beat out many other projectiles, plus in the case with his crown, he'll beat out projectiles and it will return to him like a boomerang. Now, again, I know there are plenty of characters that would wish that they have projectiles like this, but the thing about King K. Rool is that they have a ton of end lag and startup, so at this point you should be able to do a few things in order to counter it. So as you can see with my Olimar, I was jumping up and then throwing my projectiles because the Pikmin's type kind of arc when you throw them, and this is a clear blind spot for King K. Rool since he can't protect the top of himself. Now, other characters as well, I mean it is quite specific to Olimar, but there are some other characters like Robin with their arc fire, which should be able to curve over as well. Now, another thing as well is with characters like Incineroar, just the close range grapplers. Incineroar in particular has a really good time against King K. Rool when he uses his projectiles, just because his up B travels in such an odd angle that it will manage to go straight over King K. Rool. And of course from there you'll be able to counter him. You won't be able to do too much because he'll still be in end lag at that point. Now, you might get hit the first few times, but once you get to see him throw his projectile out many times, you'll start to get used to it and his attacks will become, seem like telegraphed attacks, and you'll be able to counter much more easily. Now, another huge thing to note is that characters universally have a much quicker hop. Now, back in Smash 4, characters had their different speeds and some of them would take ages, especially the heavier characters, but this time around, every character, if you hold down that jump button, you'll be getting up into the air really quickly, so you should be able to capitalize on his end lag and startup and just hop over them and try and attack. Again, it might be a bit more difficult with certain characters, but that's definitely a way to avoid the projectiles. Very reliable in this case, and just hopping in general is a really good option in this game. Now, also I should note that most of the King K. Rools that I'm facing at the moment are around 2.5 million GSP or GUSP, or however you like to say it. Their global smash power is quite high, so most of them seem to know what they're doing. But as I said, exploit his projectile end lag and startup lag and you should be fine. Now, you've jumped over his projectiles, you've gotten in close on King K. Rool, but what do you do now? And for my second tip, it's actually quite short and sweet, and that is just to combo him. Now, if you've played any other Smash game, you'll know that the bigger characters are absolute combo food. I mean, if your character has a notable combo, chances are they're gonna work on King K. Rool just because he's such a big character. As you can see, Game & Watch using his neutral air goldfish bowl, which I can actually get two off. I can use a goldfish bowl or a down throw into goldfish bowl into another goldfish bowl, and if I want to I can finish up with an up B, which will place me higher so I don't use it too much. But yeah, I mean honestly, I have to admit, Game & Watch, one of his best iterations since Brawl. But I mean I'll get to more on that later. That's another video for another time. But as I was saying with King K. Rool, very short, just combo him. I mean, characters like Bayonetta especially, who have crazy combos, will be able to keep him locked in for ages, because the thing about big characters, big and heavy fast fallers, and the fact that they all pretty much just be stuck in combos for days. I mean, honestly, I think I comboed in with Bayonetta once and I think it lasted for about a day. I don't know, maybe a slight exaggeration, but what I'm trying to say is that it will be very hard for him to escape combos. Now, usually you have to use DI, which is just wiggling the control stick in a certain direction, and maybe tapping jump as well to help you come out. And especially with the directional dodges now, it makes it even easier to get out of combos. But as I said, with such big characters, he won't be escaping anytime soon, and you'll see some more in the footage of it eventually. So yeah, that's my second tip. Now for my third tip in beating King K. Rool, it's kind of a character specific one, so I won't go on about it too long. But if you have a reflector, then definitely reflect his projectiles, especially the crown. Now the thing about King K. Rool's crown is that if it misses him, or if you reflect it in this instance, it will remain as an pickable item that you can pick up. Now King K. Rool can pick it back up again, but it will go straight on his head. But if you pick it up, you'll be able to pretty much throw it around and use it against him, and it does a considerable amount of knockback, so definitely something useful to use against him. It could surprise him. But this one actually leads quite nicely into my next one, which is to edge guard him and just follow him off the stage. Well, this one sort of depends on if your character has a good enough recovery, but exactly, you're not going to be jumping off with Little Mac or Incineroar. I definitely don't recommend that unless you want death. But like I was saying, you can actually pick up his crown and throw it directly vertically down so that you can hit King K. Rool as he recovers, because even though King K. Rool is a heavyweight, he has again a recovery which has a great horizontal range and excellent vertical range. However, he can't actually attack you from the sides or from below, so it is a bit tricky, and I know this one is definitely easier said than done. It might take a bit of time to get used to it, but you can actually attack King K. Rool as he's falling down. I mean, you might see it in my video. I believe I have some Samus footage up, but maybe not right now. As you can see, the King starting to make his comeback there. Jeez, yeah, it got a bit too comfortable there. But as I was saying, King K. Rool is not invincible when he's returning from the stage. Now his propellers may hit you, and again, it doesn't do too much damage or knockback, but it can hit you quite a few times, and it is really annoying and hard to try and get a direct spike. But if you try and attack from the side with a character with a decent off-stage game like Samus, for instance, then you might be able to stage spike him, or maybe not stage spike him, but just rack up a bit of extra damage or so, and that's always very helpful in coming one step closer to taking him out. And for my final tip on taking out King K. Rool, it's to keep up the pressure. Now, I know I did mention how King K. Rool has a ton of amazing things, such as an amazing recovery, great projectiles, the ability to bury you, but in addition to all of those amazing things, he also has super armor on many different moves, and that includes his forward tilt, his neutral air, his down smash, and so on. But the thing about his super armor is that it is not completely invincible. Now, the thing about his super armor is that if it takes too many hits, I believe there's a set percentage of damage that it can take, but if it takes too many hits, it will break and it will cause a shield stun effect, just as though he held his shield for too long, which can be really helpful. Now, the thing is that this definitely varies from character to character. I mean, of course, some characters aren't quite as rush down heavy. For example, you see Samus here. For Samus, a good thing to do would be to bait out his projectile, because in addition to all of that, he does have a counter as well, and his counter not only counters physical attacks but also projectiles and other attacks as well, which are long range. Then he'll just deflect it back. So in that case, you want to try and of course keep up the pressure, but you want to try and bait out his reflector a few times, because once again, that's another one of his special moves that has a lot of end lag. Now, the thing as well is that if you want to play it really safe, then I recommend only using Samus's charge shot, for example. Only use it when he's going for a tech roll or getting off stage, or whenever, just to try and use it when it's in a safe position. But as I was saying, with keeping up the pressure, I think for heavy hitters such as Incineroar, you just want to continue, because Incineroar's I believe it's Incineroar's Revenge in a smash attack will break his armor in one single hit. I mean, Incineroar hits hard anyway, but the fact that a lot of heavy hitters can break his armor in quite a few hits means that if you do keep up the pressure, you should be able to break his shield eventually and quite quickly, especially if you're going all out. Now for other lighter hitters, such as, I don't know, say Sheik for example, you might want to do a more hit and run type approach. I mean, Sheik won't be breaking his armor in one hit by any means, because Sheik is just way too weak. But if you go in, throw in a few attacks and then run out and try the same thing, try and bait out his neutral air and attacking just out of range, spacing it perfectly so that you won't take damage, or even not taking too much damage if you just bait out some of his weaker armored moves. But the thing is that you will notice that his armor has a few cracks in them, so over time, if you keep on attacking it, you can pretty much wear him down and just get his armor that much closer to breaking. So yeah, as I said, keep up the pressure, but of course just be very, very careful. I mean, he is quite a solid character, as I mentioned before, so none of this will be a walk in the park. But after a bit of practice, I'm sure you'll be quite happy to see King K. Rool there, because I know I do when I'm playing as like Game & Watch or someone, I sort of start to smile thinking that it's a much better matchup for me now, and it can potentially be an easy win. Now, a quick note about King K. Rool's ability to bury you is that if you mash out, like by wiggling the control stick and mashing the buttons, then you should be able to break out much quicker. Now, the thing about his down throw is that if you start wiggling out before he even buries you, then it will actually go towards escaping once he buries you. So if you start mashing once you get buried, it will take much longer than if you started mashing from before you got buried. Also, when he uses his down tilt, it will always take a bit longer because for some reason it buries you for much longer. But then again, I guess it makes sense. But anyway, thanks a lot for watching. I mean, if any of this helped you out, please leave a like, subscribe for more in the future, and of course, just leave a comment. Just let me know if this did help you out, and let me know as well. Do you want to hear a guide on any other character? Because I don't mind creating one for some other characters and how to counter them. Let me know, is Inkling getting the better of you, or are there any other characters that you find just super annoying? Anyway, as I said, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace out.